Welcome back to Hardball. There's new optimism today for that 9/11 health care bill. That's the bill that provides extra medical benefits to those who responded to and cleaned up after the World Trade Center attack. This weekend, New York Senators Kirsten Gillibrand and Chuck Schumer announced they had modified the bill, reducing its overall price tag and changing the way it is paid for. But some Republicans are still unhappy about it. With us now is New York Senator Chuck Schumer. Senator Schumer, after the horror of 9/11, it seemed like we were united as a country. Republicans and Democrats both, led at that point by a Republican president who would do just about anything to help the people at 9/11. Has there been a sea change? Why are the Republicans opposing this measure of yours?
Well, I don't know if there's been a sea change, but, you know, we're almost 10 years from 9/11, and I guess people tend to forget. Those of us who were there at the towers can never forget the brave firefighters, construction workers who just rushed in. And remember, in the first few days, we thought there might still people that would be alive in the rubble. And so people are forgetting. People come up with excuses. Some say this is a New York bill. This is not. First, there are victims in every state. And second, we don't ask where our veterans come from. Are they from Texas? Are they from Iowa? We say, you served America, and we're going to remember that at a time of war, you risked your life for us. We're going to be there to help you. We should be doing the same for these people.
Well, tell the country now, if you have a minute or two, what about the unique health hazards that arose from those who went in, those 100,000 people, if you count them all, who have gotten involved one way or another in trying to deal with that horror?
Well, they are coming down with cancers that are rare types of cancers. This is not typical. You know, some people said, well, someone who smokes will say they got lung cancer. These cancers are different. They are unique. They come about when you get glass and other particulates in your lungs and your gastrointestinal tract. The average age of the person who has died here is 46, and they don't occur for any other reason. So the idea that, you know, there are all kinds of illnesses that might not have been related to rushing to the tower and the horrible stuff that was in the air then is just wrong. Secondly, we've been very careful. We know who was there at the towers. There was strict security the days after. Nobody is going to be able to dupe the system. And in fact, there's been a year-to-year system of health care. It's not been as comprehensive or as thorough. There's been virtually no fraud. So anyone who thinks the money is being wasted is wrong. They haven't looked at the facts.
Let's take a look at Chris Wallace interviewing John Kyle, the number 2 Republican leader, as he opposes your measure yesterday. Let's listen.
Will you vote this week for the 9/11 bill that would guarantee health care to the first responders who went to Ground Zero?
I don't know if that bill is going to come before us, but Dick tells me just a moment ago that he thinks that it will. First question is it amendable, or is it a take-it-or-leave-it proposition? The bill hasn't been through committee. There are problems with it, and I think the first thing Republicans will ask is, do we have a chance to fix any problems that may exist with it? And it's a lot of money, and so my early response is that I am skeptical about that bill.
Let me answer a couple of things.
Sure, go ahead.
It will come for a vote. Leader Reid has promised us that. Second, we have worked with Republicans. That's why the bill is modified. There will be an amendment on the floor because we went to many of the Republicans. We had every Democrat supporting the original bill that the House sent us. But some Republicans said they didn't like the way it was paid for. We gave them 6 or 7 options. They chose the ones they liked, and that's what's here. I believe that we have 60 votes for the bill, so we can block cloture. And our plea to Senator Kyle, we can't ask him to vote for it if he thinks it's the wrong thing to do, although I think if he read the bill thoroughly and studied it, he would come to the same conclusions we did. But not to filibuster needlessly. This is now a bipartisan bill. It passed with votes in the House, and we should not, Christmas Eve in particular, turn our back on these people who served us in a time of war, are no different than veterans. America has always honored veterans who risked their lives in a time of war voluntarily. We said, if you get injured, we're going to on the battlefield, we're going to take care of you. It is no different with these firemen, cops, construction workers who did the same thing.
Take a minute for the advantage of the people who are skeptical to tell me the fundraising, or rather the financing plan for offsetting the costs of this measure.
The financing plans don't. First, the bill does not cost any money. In fact, the pay-fors exceed the cost of the bill by $57 million, so it actually reduces the deficit. Who pays for it? First, there are companies from a group of countries that bid on United States products, and they don't allow the U.S. companies to bid on products from their government and contracts from their government. We put a 2% surcharge on those. It's not the major countries of the world. They have treaties with us where our companies can bid for their government's contracts and vice versa. Second, there are certain companies that abuse the H-1B process by taking foreign workers and bringing them here and training them and sending them home. We increase the surcharge on those companies. They are foreign companies almost exclusively. 50% of their workers have to be H-1B. And third, there was a non-controversial increase on visas for foreigners that for several years paid for travel promotion. We increased that by a couple of years. Every one of these is non-controversial. None of them affect American citizens. And the help, of course, goes to American citizens who helped us in a time of need.
Okay, it's great having you on, Chuck.
Chris, anyone who says they're opposed to this bill, they're not looking at the bill, they're not looking at the facts, and they ought to look at it again. Because the only way this bill will fail is if it's filibustered. Otherwise, we have the votes.
Okay, happy holidays to you, Senator
Thank
Chuck
you.
Schumer
Merry
of
Christmas.
New York, the
Happy New
senior
Year.
senator. Thank you, sir.